What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the airport. Welcome back to a brand new video. We are back, and the Miami Heat have just literally like 5 minutes ago finished up their last and final preseason game of the year. We're on to the regular season, man, starting in a couple of days now. So super excited for that. We're here with our usual 5 takeaways from our preseason game. I almost said regular season against the Houston Rockets, which we lost 104-110. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, comment down below what you guys think. And yeah, as you guys can see by the title of this video, there's 2 players in key that we want to highlight who played really well tonight. So let's get right into it, man. RJ Hampton. RJ Hampton is the #1 player that we're going to be talking about. The first takeaway is that RJ Hampton is a hooper. And I made this video a couple of weeks ago where I talked about how him and Swider were going to be the next undrafted finds for the Heat, and they look like the best of the new guys, the new additions. Obviously we had guys like Jamal Cain last year, but as far as people who are new, if you're talking about the guys who are competing for those two-way spots, because let's be honest, Jamal Cain will get the standard contract. Out of the 5 people competing for those two-way spots, Hampton and Swider look like the best 2. And Hampton in particular tonight. Now, obviously, he was out for a couple of games most of the preseason with an injury, and unfortunately, we did not really see what he could have done in a lot of games. We only got a 1-game sample size, but in this one game, he was electric. He was all over the place. He was our best player in the second half, and ended with 17 points, and you can see his skill set. And I'm not gonna lie, if he does not get a 2-way deal, I'm gonna be very disappointed. I'm gonna be very disappointed because there's no way that he shouldn't be on this roster with his skill set, with this talent, with just what he brings to the table, man. He's very unique as far as somebody that we don't have. And the thing is, he can get to the rim. He puts a lot of rim pressure on the opposing defense. So we don't really have a lot of people like that. I feel like this game really showed how we don't really have a true point guard apart from Kyle Lowry on this team. Now we do have guys like Bam who can play make, and Hero who can play make. Now obviously Jimmy did not play this game. I feel like Jimmy, when he comes back, is going to really settle down the offense and make sure that we're not committing as many turnovers as we did tonight. Because I'm not going to lie, the turnovers were not that great. We committed 20 of them tonight. And, obviously that's a sign of a team that doesn't really have a true point guard to settle them in. And Lowry, again, I feel like Lowry would be a lot better suited to come off the bench. For some reason, I have an inclination that he's going to start. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Josh Richardson is injured. I just feel like, especially when everybody is healthy, I feel like Lowry should come off the bench because we don't really have anybody to lead the second unit, man. But that's just besides the point. We're going to be talking about all that, with the next takeaways. But RJ Hampton, first and foremost, he proved himself. I always knew he was talented. I've watched him for a while now, even before he went overseas. He was talked about for a long time. If anybody was really in tune and tapped into basketball, hoops before the NBA, RJ Hampton was very talked about, man. He was at Montverde. He's a very talented prospect, and this is a guy that went overseas. Again, I really thought that he came to the NBA a year early. I'm not sure again what you guys think, but I don't know. I really do think that he was a year early in his decision to come to the NBA. I feel like he needed another year to develop, but the talent was always there. This guy was a 5-star recruit, and I'm pretty sure he was, a top 5 player in the 2019 class. He was very good, man. He'd been recruited by Kansas, by Memphis. So many college schools were big schools were recruiting him, and he ended up going to the Breakers in New Zealand. But yeah, I feel like he came to the NBA a year early, but if a team like the Heat, had gotten him before, he would have been a very good player by now. And he still is going to be a very good player because the Heat have finally got his hands on him. But I just feel like a guy like that, who's that uber talented, his basketball resume for his age is already great. He's already a gold medalist I think with the FIBA under 17s with the US, like in Orlando, whenever he got the opportunity, like he thrived. Like I'm pretty sure there was a season where he averaged 11 points a game off the bench. Like he was doing really, really well. And I feel like all he needed was a chance. And I think if the Heat sign him to that contract, they're going to find another diamond in the rough, because this is a guy who can hoop. He's a hooper. He's a first round pick. He's a 5-star recruit. Like he is a hooper. He's not a typical not undrafted, but he's not a typical two-way player on the C team. Like he's not a guy who had to, who was under recruited and all this stuff. Like this guy is a legitimate hooper, and I feel like there's no way he shouldn't be on this roster. We have to stick around with this. We have to make sure we stick around with this guy, because if he goes to a different team, like we're gonna be losing out, because he's very, very good. Let's just transition to the second takeaway, which is, again, like I did hint at it a little bit, the point guard position. Now, last game, I don't know, maybe I was a little bit more comfortable with the point guard role because of Bam's ball handling, and we had a couple of guys like Jay Rich handling the ball, but it could just be a case of injuries. But I just feel like this team needs, just for like a, I don't know, just for like an insurance policy, just like one more point guard. Like I don't know who that is. I don't know whether that is RJ Hampton or not. If you just go through the guards on this roster, like Lowry, Hero, Richardson, and Duncan, out of the four, I would say two of them are natural. One of them is a natural playmaker. Lowry is for sure a natural playmaker. Richardson is trying to be molded into that role by the Heat. He's been getting a lot of point guard reps. Hero's a scorer. Although he's underrated playmaker, let's be honest, Hero's a scorer. And then Robinson is a shooter. So again, if you look at the guards, not, the most riches at playmaking over there. Jimmy and Bam, extremely good playmaking for their positions. But, let's be honest, like how often are you going to have Bam as your primary playmaker? Like he's not Jokic, where like the whole entire offense revolves around him. Like he could be like kind of like a Jokic light for the Heat if the Heat decides to do that, because then I wouldn't have any issues with our playmaking. Because if you look at the Nuggets, like the Nuggets don't really have playmakers like that. Like Jokic is like their playmaker, and the entire offense revolves around him. Bam is very good, but he's not, we don't use Bam the way that the Nuggets use Jokic. So him as a playmaker is going to be in spurts. It's not going to be like a consistent playmaking output from him. Jimmy is a very good playmaker, and I feel like in the regular season, you're going to try to see him take on a lot of playmaking duties with this team, especially because we don't really have too many of those. But I feel like playmaking and rim pressure go hand in hand. So that point guard position is interesting, which is why another reason why I think RJ Hampton should be signed is because he is one of the only guys on this team who can get to the rim. Like apart from Jimmy, apart from Hero on occasion, and apart from Bam, we don't have anybody on this team that can consistently get to the rim. And RJ Hampton is a slasher like by nature. Yeah, he's worked on his shot, but he is a very good, point of attack. Sorry, that's the defense. He's a very good slasher. He's also a good point of attack defender, as shown by his deflections and steals and a lot of activity disruption on the ball. But yeah, we're talking about offensive side of the ball. He's a very good slasher, and he's probably one of the only good slashers we have on this team. We don't have too many of those, and I feel like it's very valuable to keep a guy like Hampton, not only because he's super talented, but also because he kind of fits a need. We don't really have that. Drew Smith, I didn't mention him for a reason. I just don't see it with him, bro. It's been 5 preseason games. Try to give him the benefit of the doubt. Last preseason game, he looked okay. He's a good defender. Drew Smith gets his hand in passing lanes. He pokes the ball loose and does a lot of disruption on the defensive end. But on the offensive end, like I just don't know what he does. Like he literally does nothing. Can't shoot, can't finish. What can he do? Like what can this guy do offensively? He cannot get to the rim. He's slow. He's not a good shooter. Like he's just, sometimes he's when you're out there and watching the game, when you see him out there, like it's just like what is he doing? He's just running around. That's what it looks like to me, just putting up bricks after bricks. Like I don't know, man. I'm not a huge fan of Drew Smith's game. I know it's not just me, because I know a lot of fans don't like his game either. And it would be crazy if he got a 2-way contract over Hampton. Like Hampton in one preseason game has shown more than Drew Smith in 5, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. That's just me. But I really do think that, you know, Drew Smith, like, he probably looks like the worst one out of those two-way guys. Maybe him and Diallo, but Cheikh Diallo has not played that much at all. I even think Champagnie has looked better than Drew Smith. And Champagnie will probably not make the team. So, yeah, I just don't see it with him. So people talking about Drew Smith, like maybe the Heat will sign him, and I think that he just really like him for whatever reason. Like I said, it probably because he's steady, doesn't make too many mistakes, but he just doesn't have that it factor. He doesn't have, you know, what it takes, in my opinion, to be, you know, a rotational player in this league. But I don't know. We said the same with Gabe Vincent when Gabe Vincent first came, so maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, because I do want him to be a good player for this team, especially if the Heat are going to sign him. But again, he just hasn't shown me anything for me to believe that. So yeah, the point guard position is the second thing that we had to talk about. Third takeaway, Bam Adebayo. Man, he looks locked in, dog. Especially that jump shot. Yeah, he's on a mission. Like, he's coming different this season. Everyone's talking about how Tyler's gonna, you know, shut people up. I feel like Bam is gonna do the same. I feel like Bam is coming out different, and it's gonna be his team really soon. You know, this is no disrespect to Jimmy. Jimmy's amazing. He's our best player, but the way Bam is progressing, like, dude, like, I don't really see how anybody can guard him. The only person that can stop Bam is himself. Nobody can guard Bam. Like, if Bam wants to, like, score, like, he'll score. Yeah, Şengün is not the best defender, but bro, he was straight up just dogging him, bro. Like, Şengün had no chance whatsoever. And it's not just Şengün, like, Bam is, again, I've been saying this since the bubble, like, bro, he's too fast for bigger centers, and he's too big for whoever they try to put him who's undersized. Whoever they try to put on him who's undersized, like, there's just no guarding him. The only, you know, way that Bam can be stopped is if he just doesn't shoot. And I feel like that's the only thing that's hindered him, is his aggressiveness. If he's on his game, bro, like, there's not one player in this league that can guard Bam Adebayo. Not one. So I just hope he stays with it with that mindset, because I just loved how he just came out in that first quarter, just shot everything that came to him, and he knocked down everything, and he was playing with confidence. Like, that's the Bam that I want for 82 games and the playoffs. That is the Bam that I want. Don't come out, be passive and stuff, bro. Nobody can guard you. Nobody can mess with you. So yeah, shout out to Bam. He's the third takeaway. Number 4, Kevin Love. I'm not gonna lie, Kevin Love is gonna have to do something on offense if we want it to work this season. I'm not a fan of him and Lowry starting. I just think that just limits our athleticism and versatility. They're just two very old players. And again, this is nothing against K-Love, because I think he was a very good signing for us last season at the, you know, at the deadline, at the buyout market. And this season, I feel like, you know, it was a good re-signing for sure. Like, I don't think he should be starting. That's just me personally, but I feel like it was a good signing for the locker room, and off the bench, if he was to make an impact, I feel like it'd be nice. He's probably going to start because, you know, we're lacking a lot of guys right now. The injuries are crazy. Haywood Highsmith is going to be out for at least 2 weeks. Don't know how long Jay Rich is going to be out. I don't think Hawkins is going to be ready. So in that forward department, we're thin. We're thin. So we're going to talk about one guy at the end, but K-Love is going to be crucial, because I feel like I liked his activity defensively. He was contesting a lot of shots at the rim, and yeah, he was just switching, rotating a lot. He was doing well on defense. I'll give him that, but he just hasn't shot the ball well this preseason whenever he's played. Like, we need him to start knocking down threes, because if he's going to start on this team, he's going to have to be somebody who makes the defense pay. Let's be honest, I just don't think Love and Lowry should be starting. I think both of them, or one of them should be coming off the bench. Lowry is 37. Love is 34, 35. Like, and his game is not like, you know, he's just a spot up shooter at this point. And again, I'm not saying that, you know, he's going to be a hindrance, but he will be if he's not knocking down shots. So we're going to need him to knock down his threes, because that's all really he can do on offense at this point. Like, he's a good playmaker, I guess. Well, yeah, he is a good playmaker. Let me not disrespect him. And I have liked his post defense on the perimeter. I'm not gonna lie, he's getting cooked if he switched on the perimeter, but on in the post, he's good. He holds his own. He can protect the rim a little bit. And then on offense, if he just needs to knock down his threes, because again, Lowry and him already, you're just losing a lot of athleticism and defense there. They're undersized. They're not mobile enough. Inconsistent from three. No athleticism, can't get to the rim. Like, those are two players that, are going to hinder your offense if they're both in the starting lineup together. So the least that they can do, both him and Lowry, because I think they're both in the same boat here, they got to knock their shots down. They have to knock their shots down. Like, bro, like, it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, if they're starting on this team, they can't be just out there doing nothing offensively. Like, Lowry gets away with just doing nothing offensively sometimes. Both of them just have to make sure they're knocking down their threes. Ideally, I think the starting lineup should be, I don't know, any version of, I would say Richardson, Hero. Obviously, J. Rich is not going to be back. Or maybe he might be. I'm not too sure. If he's back, I would say J. Rich, Hero, Jimmy, Caleb, and Bam. I like that starting lineup. Off the bench, you still have Caleb, and you have Kyle. Or if you want to do Kyle, Hero, Jimmy, Caleb, and Bam, sure. Or J. Rich, Hero, Jimmy, Love, and Bam. That's also fine. Starting both Kyle and Caleb is a disaster waiting to happen, because you're starting two guys who are way past their prime and who really don't bring much to the table besides inconsistent shooting and veteran leadership. And the leadership is something that can be brought off the bench as well. Like, it's not anything that we're losing out on if they just both come off the bench. Like, I know Lowry expects to start, but come on, bro. Like, you got to do what's best for the team to win. And they can bring their leadership off the bench. That's what Love did in the playoffs at times last season. And Lowry did it for the whole playoffs too. So, yeah, like, apart from that, and apart from, like, occasionally knocking down threes, like, even their three-point percentage is not the best at all. Like, they're not out there consistently making threes. It's very inconsistent from them. Defensively, again, like I said, not the quickest, not the strongest, not the most athletic at all. So people will go at them. People will test them because they're old. I don't think it's a good idea to have both of them starting. But if that's what we're going to do, then they have to be knocking down threes. Last but not least, Nikola Jovic, man. He looked good. And the reason he looked good, because I've been clamoring on about this for I don't know how many videos in a row. I've been saying this. If you guys have been watching my videos, you guys know. He is not a spot-up shooter. Stop using him as a spot-up shooter. If he's going to be used as a spot-up shooter, he's not going to reach his potential whatsoever, which is what my main argument was for him probably not being in the rotation. But with all the injuries to our starters, and not starters, to our forwards, I mean, there's essentially no choice. Like, if Hawkes is missing time, if Highsmith is missing time, if Richardson is missing time, like, he's going to get minutes. And I'm scared that if he gets minutes in the regular season, he's going to revert back to the spot-up shooter role, because he looked like his best when it was just him handling the ball, and we didn't really have, like, a point guard. If you're talking about needing point guard depth, this guy's a 6'10" point guard. He is a 6'10" point guard. Like, don't let his size fool you, because by nature, by ability, he's a point guard. He's a point guard and can do a lot of, things that point guards can do. So, listen, if he gets minutes, I don't want to see him being a spot-up shooter. I don't want to see him sitting in the corner when he's playing with the second unit. Because who on the second unit really is going to command all that attention? Who is somebody on the second unit who should be getting the ball so many times? Like, we don't have a microwave scorer off the bench like that. Whether it's Richardson, whether it's Lowry, neither of those two should be commanding that much attention or should be commanding that much of the ball. Robinson is a movement shooter. He doesn't have the ball in his hands. Caleb, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But more often than not, unless it's like mid-play, like, he's not bringing the ball up. Especially if Lowry starts. If Lowry is coming off the bench, then I'd say Lowry should be bringing the ball up. But if Lowry starts, I have a crazy idea. Have Jovic run back a point guard. Like, not officially, but just have him bring the ball up. He's probably one of the best at it on the team. And that's crazy because he's 6'10". But he just has that in him. Like, he's just so much better with the ball in his hands than not. It's crazy. Without the ball, he looks lost, bro. he looks just out of place. But with the ball in his hands, he looks comfortable. He just looks at home. So we have to figure out how to use him properly, because my biggest fear has always been that whenever this team is fully healthy, he won't get minutes. He'll get left out of the rotation. Or if he plays, he'll look lost because his skill set doesn't match what we need. And the skill set doesn't match what the Heat system looks like when everybody's fully healthy. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see for sure. I feel like this might be Kevin Love's last season. So if anybody's, wants to step into that starting lineup next season, whether it's Jovic or Highsmith or anybody, I feel like they're going to have bigger roles on and on throughout their Heat careers. But right now, if Jovic does not have the ball in his hands, you're not using him correctly. Because he is the best, absolute best, when he's creating his own shot, when he's creating shots for others. His playmaking vision is off the charts for his age and for his size. Like, he does a lot of things that the Heat could like, essentially, but it just depends on whether the Heat want to unlock him or not. If the Heat want to use him as a spotter shooter, then he won't be good. Let me just say it right now, he won't be. But if they want to use him to his full potential and they want to use him how he can play, you have a future star in the making right there. And that is gonna be the end of the video, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. It was a longer video, about 21 minutes, but listen, man, you got to do what you got to do. It's the last preseason game. I will be doing a season preview video. That's going to be coming out sometime this weekend, just because the season starts on Tuesday. I'm super excited for it. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below what your thoughts are about this video. Again, a lot of stuff was covered in this video. If you guys feel like I missed something, make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section below. Ask any questions you guys have, because I will be doing a Q&A episode very soon. And yeah, let's not get right into it, because we did that for 21 minutes. Let's wrap this up. So enjoy the video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. And yeah, I'll see y'all later as always, man. Have a nice day. Peace.